at the end of the South Carolina result, Saturday night, there were people basically saying two things. Well, let me read. This is Nate Silver, the pollster and sort of political strategist. Haley's not going to win, but she's demonstrating that the non-Trump coalition, the GOP, is more robust than commonly assumed. In other words, what people are saying is, this is Chris Hahn, 40% of Republicans in a very red state said no to Trump tonight. That's the story, nothing else. Well, let's say something about that story first, because it's not unusual in a Republican primary for it to be reasonably competitive. It doesn't mean that all these people are against Trump. It may mean that Trump is just not their first choice. They'd like to see somebody other than Trump, but they'll still vote for Trump. This was true, by the way, if you go back to 1980. Let's look at Reagan. Let's look at Reagan in the primaries in New Hampshire, where Reagan came in first. But guess what? George Bush came in second. There was a whole bunch of other candidates. I don't remember if Jack Kemp was in it at that time, but they all got a bunch of votes. So you couldn't say, well, 70% of New Hampshire said no to Reagan. No, Reagan still came in first. Ultimately, those Republicans voted for Reagan. So this is, it's almost like we've forgotten what a primary is. The other thing about Haley is that Nate Silver goes on to say, sets her well up for 2028 if he loses. Now, I don't think this is true at all, because, quite frankly, if you just ask Republicans to make a list of their choices for, let's even take Trump out of the picture. Let's put all the others up. Let's put up DeSantis, Vivek, throw in Mike Pence, Chris Christie, pretty much all of them, and you have the Republican base cast a vote. I bet you that right now you would probably get DeSantis first. There are obviously other people whose names are not in that mix who would probably get some decent numbers as well. I bet you on a head-to-head, Vivek would beat Nikki Haley in a straight-out one-to-one contest among likely Republican voters now. So the idea that Nikki Haley becomes a kind of natural next in line for 2028, I think, is unlikely.